Well, I really wanted to do this interview today on Valentine's Day because I think I get a lot of curiosity about my love life, and that's not really what I wanted to talk about, but I thought it does lead to the theme of why is today such a benchmark in a lot of relationships. You know, they want to give the gift, they want to have this romantic day together or evening, and I was just thinking that the really great stories are about the ones that are about really great couples, really great partnerships. It's not about unrequited love and, you know, giving that romantic gift to that person that you're hoping will care for you, but about those relationships where, man, you know, they found each other, they found their soulmate, and it really worked. One of those stories, of course, you know, we hear them through the ages. Anthony and Cleopatra, Helen of Troy, Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. I mean, they're just tales of this intense passion, and sometimes it's destructive, but on the other hand, it's like you're amazed by it. I had a friend get in touch with me a few months ago that I had met randomly, and we didn't know each other well, but for some reason he thought that I could give him some good advice on this romantic situation he was in. He had fallen in love as a teenager. It hadn't worked out. He'd gone on with his life. He was now living in California. The love that he had met as a teenager was in Louisiana, and for some reason he just felt it was his mission to find her, and he had tracked her down, and he'd found her, and then he got hold of me and he says, you know, read my book. He really thought that I had some insight for some reason, so he asked me, he says, you know, what do you think I should do? I just really think that I need to get in hold of her, and I think that she's the love of my life. And I thought, well, what's the worst case scenario? I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? She'll say no. She's got on with her life. You're not the person. I mean, at least you gave it a shot. So I said to him, I wrote him a letter, and we were actually on Facebook, and I wrote him a letter, and I said, you know, go after what your heart wants. I mean, the end of the day, if you lost, but at least you tried, you know, you did what your vulnerability, if anything, that you let her know how you felt, is going to win her heart, I think. As a woman, I'm telling you that putting yourself on the line is what's going to be most engaging. So anyway, he thought he would go for it, and he got hold of her friends. He flew back to Louisiana, surprised her, hid in a closet with flowers, and somebody joked, they said, oh, you know, he wasn't arrested, but no. She was actually thrilled and had been yearning for him, it seems, as much as he was for her. So I played Cupid, and I'm really thrilled with my part in that, and they're actually now going to get married, and I'm invited to the wedding. So I just thought that was a great part of what can happen when you do put yourself out on the line and really go for what your heart most desires. One of the sweetest things he told me in the whole course of this story was that this was something that he was going to teach his son, the sons he was going to have with his wife now. What I had told him was, you know, go for what your heart believes in. Don't be afraid of being vulnerable. And if I said something that triggered that response in him to make him find his true love, I mean, that's pretty cool, pretty beyond cool. So anyway, we were also talking with some friends of mine. They were saying, well, what do you find romantic? And I thought, you know, the cliches that everybody thinks they have to bind in this commercial genre of, oh, you have to do the flowers, oh, you have to do the chocolates, oh, you have to do the dinner, oh, you have to do the card. Why have we become so incapable of sort of just touching base with our own sentiments, with our own feelings? Because if you really care about someone, hopefully you're paying attention to the details. The other thing is, you know, like I was on the plane last night and they were saying, you know, hey guys, we hope you didn't forget your Valentine's gifts because you're really going to be in trouble tomorrow if you did. Again, this onus is being put upon the guy to do the flowers, to do the chocolates, to do the whole romantic. I think it's 50% more money is spent by men on Valentine's Day than by women. And I don't get that, you know, because I think it's not about the guy wooing the woman, or it's not about being pursued, and it's not about conquest. It's about connecting. And that comes from both sides. And that's why I said the great stories are about the two that connect. It's not about the lost love or the yearning or the desire or the person that didn't get who they wanted. It's about somehow that magic of these two souls finding each other. And I think it's so rare, I really think it is so rare, that that's why we celebrate it so much, with romantic songs, with poetry, with Valentine's Day. And anyway, I have this issue with the guys being the ones that have to do all the stuff on Valentine's Day. I think that they should both plan on doing something that's equally sentimental. I think sentimental is the right word for this day, because it's not, it's a sweetness. I think the St. Valentine's Day, and the thing that's really curious too is it started out as an Anglo tradition, and people around the world love the idea of being in love so much that different cultures are adopting it. I lived in Mexico for a while. Valentine's Day was not an issue. Now it's become this big thing. Now it's, oh, you have to give the gift. Now you have to do the flowers, the whole 9 yards over there as well. Other cultures, like now, so I think it's something that's it's something that everybody really desires. Love stories transcends cultures, They're the great ones that are in China, the great ones that are in, Sir Lancelot and Guinevere. Sure, maybe the English have a certain spin on language and storytelling that makes it more compelling, but everybody relates to the stories.